Welcome to another episode of the Golden Moment podcast. My name's Mijo Biscan. This episode is called Why Am I Really Here? Welcome to this episode. In the last episode, we explored the ways of making your main thing the main thing and how to move past distraction. In this episode, we're going to explore what your main thing might be. And I'm going to explain that by sharing my main thing, how I got to it, and hopefully it helps you in some way. This episode goes pretty deep. We're going to go to some pretty big questions. This is one of my all-time favorite topics. And so let's begin. So you might already know what your main thing is. You might have known for a long time at some point when you were a kid, you got really interested in something and you realized this is the thing I love, this is what I'm here for, this is what I'm gonna do. So for me, it really actually took a while to figure this out. I had inklings early on, I loved music and I was drawn to it. And it took me a while to claim it as my own thing, the thing that I was doing, the thing I was here for. So I always had a passion for music and playing guitar, but I didn't know that I could do that for real in the real world. That wasn't really a concept where it felt like that was a possibility. And it always felt like musicians were a certain special breed of person, and I wasn't that person. So I could play music, but I couldn't really do it actually. So I think a lot of people fall into this category of having a passion at some point and then deciding unconsciously that it was out of reach for them, or it's just not for them, or maybe they couldn't do it, and maybe some people haven't had that experience, and I can't really say. I do know that without a context for my life, I tend to drift. I kind of tend to be all over the place and not feel very connected or satisfied. So it took me a while to get around to it, but exploring a deeper purpose for my life has been the most powerful organizing principle that I've experienced. So psychologists use this term, organizing principle. I think it was actually Nietzsche who coined this phrase. And this is a big idea that explains the concept or the filter or a framework, the big framework of your life that helps to organize your thoughts, feelings, your identity, your role, your place in the world, how we relate to one another, what we can and what we can't do, what we're willing to do, what we're not willing to do, and what one's life means and what actions inevitably flow from that. So that alone is a very big idea, this idea of an organizing principle. So I really felt like I could use that because I was drifting a lot, just trying lots of different things, but never felt really grounded in a sense of why I was here and what I was supposed to be doing. So I went on a bit of a search for it, and I uncovered it piece by piece, and then finally I embraced it as my own personal truth and my mission. So I'm here to self-actualize and bloom as the pure creative expression of the universe. It's a pretty lofty, can sound quite ambiguous statement, but through that statement, you'll notice that it doesn't actually say anything about singing and songwriting, but it reminds me to zoom out to this bigger picture, to know that when I'm expressing myself authentically and as purely as I'm able to, then I'm going to be on track. That I can be confident of that. It calls me to live from my highest self, my most authentic and powerful self. It reminds me to drop the false humility and resistance of letting my light shine into the world. So when I take action from this place of my deeper purpose, those actions feel strong. It feels inspired. It actually feels easy and it feels right. I feel very convinced of those actions. And if we rewind the prioritizing my art, this becomes easy. So I know it's the main thing. To not do it would be a waste of my life's energy. It's the best organizing principle of all. So this statement might change slightly over time. I don't know. I might discover a deeper purpose for my life. Even though the one I have is quite cosmic already. But this one hasn't budged in years. When I really articulated this and refined it, it has served me really well to make decisions, big decisions in my life, really ultimately come back to this question about purpose. Because if it's not in alignment with my purpose, it's very easy for me to say no to it. If it is aligned with my purpose, it also gives me the courage to take up that opportunity and really go for it. So I wanted to share a number of the steps that I went through to kind of have this realization. So some of it was through regular journaling and self-reflection, doing deeper purpose walks where I would go for long walks in nature with no distractions. I wouldn't take my phone and I would just ask myself, why am I really here? My deeper purpose is, and I would just come back to this question and I would get all kinds of wacky answers, but patterns started to emerge. So I would answer these same questions over and over. And another one was a step during a workshop that I was a part of, this workshop visualization, which was on purpose, that really helped me to go to a deeper level again. And so this wasn't really handed to me, but it was always there for me to uncover. And ultimately, to get to it, I had a quite remarkable experience where I climbed a mountain when I was in Iceland. I laid down in a crater while the sun and the moon followed each other across the sky. I started a process of shedding my former self. This was, my weaker self, a more frightened part of myself. And I allowed myself to connect with my true self. I know this is quite vague how I'm describing this, but maybe I can do another podcast where I go deeper into this experience and how to do these things. But and what happened when I felt like I connected to my true self was my body actually started to shudder. It started to shake. It was like I was shaking off the skin of this former self, and everything became really still. And I stood up from that place as a new person. And I walked down the hill recounting this deeper purpose statement and repeating it over and over all the way home until it was essentially etched into my psyche. So that sounds like it's a pretty psychedelic telling of that story. And if you know me, you'll know that I'm not prone to spiritual experiences like this. I'm usually quite skeptical of things like that. But having gone through that experience, taking myself through that experience, it was very powerful. So once I had this organizing principle in place, I had to start bringing things back to real life on Earth. This was quite a ethereal feeling experience. And I had to figure out, okay, well, how do I now take this idea of my deeper purpose and actually bring it into my actions in my life? Because I could very easily just float around thinking, okay, I'm just an expression of the universe. Woohoo, this is amazing. But that wouldn't be very satisfying, I don't think. So I needed to sort of organize it. And what I did with it moving forward was how to take this ethereal purpose and put it into a vision for my life. And so that's what I'll share with you in the next episode. I know this was pretty epic, deep episode. If you enjoyed this, let me know. Leave a comment below. Let me know if you're in contact with your deeper purpose and what that is for you, why you're really here. And please, if you like this episode, give it a thumbs up, like it, share it, review it on iTunes or Stitcher, give it a rating, and share it with any friends. And please leave me a comment below. I would love to hear what you think about this episode. If you'd like to get a free download of any of my music, you can head to mijobiscan.com/free music. You'll get 5 free tracks right there. And if you'd like to get a limited edition personalized and signed CD of my latest album, Golden Moment, which comes with an instant download and artwork and a booklet, lyric booklet, you can head to mijobiscan.com/GMCD. Thanks for listening. Stay golden. See you in the next episode. Hope you're connecting with your deeper purpose today. And bye for now.